Greetings, heroes and Force users of all ages. Welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Alyssa Simmons, and I'm joined today by my two pals, Dino Nicandros
Hello there.
and Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
Ooh, two hello there's. It's fitting, because today we are continuing our Obi-Wan discussion. This is part 4, directed by Deborah Chow, written by Joby Harold and Hannah Friedman. And by God, we're Star Wars fans.
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
I am Iron.
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Well, wow. I'm happy to be back with you.
Yeah, thank
two,
God. We missed
talking
you.
about-
We've just been all over the place, though, to be fair.
We have.
At least
We're
some
just-
of us have.
We're just
I know
trying to
Daniel has
still
been constant.
get the episodes out. Daniel has only missed like one episode, I think.
I think one ever.
Ever.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. But
But- It is the way of the world. So are we
Yes.
still Star Wars fans?
I mean, I can't speak for you two, but I
I'm
suppose
still a Star Wars fan.
I'm still a Star Wars fan.
Hella.
Are you, Dino?
I think so.
I think so. So, like, what was
People are, like-
everybody's...
People are like really huffy about this show.
Which is so strange. I mean, I
mean,
like,
I'm
I
not
understand.
surprised.
Yeah, I mean, because like we've always said, and we joked around on the show, like nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans. But
Correct.
I mean, and there's definitely like, you know, it would be we would be silly to say there's nothing to criticize in the show, you know, and it's perfect.
Sure.
You know, that's not possible. Every show has things to criticize, but like.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you spend so much time like focusing all on the negative stuff, you just kind of it's a downward terrible spiral.
Guys,
it's
it's
just
Star
not worth
Wars.
going down.
It's Star Wars. We're
It's
getting
Star
so
Wars.
much Star Wars. I mean, for God's sakes, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are back in these roles. Like, what?
I
Yeah.
think there's a segment, and it's the minority, but they are very vocal, that wish Star Wars was just pew pew and
Right.
doing cool things with lightsabers.
Sure.
And that was never the point, ever.
No.
And while those things are awesome,
Yes.
and we like them in great quantities,
Mhm.
it is not what Star Wars is about, and it's certainly not what Obi-Wan Kenobi is about.
Well,
No.
I
As a
feel
character.
like I don't know. It's interesting too, because like, you know, people like go on about how much they love the original films, and then I think that people that complain about stuff that's happening now, they don't remember what the originals were actually like, because they're like, there's not enough of this and not enough of that. I was like, neither did the originals.
Neither are the originals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they didn't have that. Why do you think you need it now? I'm confused.
And there were plenty of mistakes made in those movies.
Oh my gosh, they were
I mean, guys.
creating a full-blown new genre of
Yeah.
a thing.
Space opera. Space
Yes.
opera.
It's just not that serious, said the people hosting a podcast about
They
Star Wars.
talk
It's
all
serious.
about how serious it is.
This is a very serious thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say my general
Yes,
like
what were your general things?
feelings about part 4 is that I really enjoyed it. I think that
Well, you can say what you thought about 3 too, because you missed that.
oh yeah, I missed that part. I liked it. I thought like
Yeah, what
not
did you think
necessarily
of,
that 2 and 3 like dipped.
Hmm,
We use that term on here quite a bit.
sure.
But it just felt to me versus episode part 1, sorry,
Hmm.
that they were still sort of finding footing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
Which
felt-
is, you know,
Which is understandable.
yeah, I suppose, and it's harder when you have a show that's only 6 episodes long, because if you lose your
Yeah.
footing in like 1 or 2 episodes, that's like a third
That's
of
a
your show.
very big chunk.
Right.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Obviously it was so thrilling to see our friend Dustin
Oh.
as this new character, this new
How
droid,
cool.
ned-b. So that was thrilling. And
What did you think? I'm curious. We never got to talk about it. What did you think about Darth Vader's entrance into that little village?
scary as hell. scary.
Oh my goodness.
If Disney has
Just-
done one thing correctly, and
It's
they've
killing
done multiple,
children.
they've done a lot of things correctly with
But it's
Star Wars.
making Darth Vader like actually scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've handled Vader very well.
That part was very
Yeah, I mean,
spooky.
just like walking through that town, just
Little town, it's a quiet bit.
choke,
Somebody,
snap, choke, snap, choke, snap.
somebody needs to edit that
Just
music.
dragging people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh,
that was
man.
scary.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Yeah, I like the idea of this like, underground path, like
Yeah.
smuggling Jedi. That's really cool.
Yeah, like the Underground Railroad kind of.
Yes.
It's very much what it is.
They're
Yeah.
definitely world building into what feels like either a second season or another show completely.
Sure. Yeah.
Is what it feels like.
Yeah, that was sort of my general of 2 and 3, and part 4. I really liked it. I feel like the music went like, just said yes and about 17 times. I felt like
Mhm.
it really, really landed in this episode. Particularly the themes in the water drowning
Yes.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the show is very well cast.
Mhm.
Baby Princess Leia is just
MVP.
freaking
She
adorable.
is the MVP.
Really?
She's I think she's great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Vivian Blair is. she's
she
doing it.
also we because Chassie is actually watching Obi-Wan.
Oh,
with me.
cute.
She wanted to watch it for Destin, and
Ah.
Yeah, of course.
and we also just started The First Lady, which is a Showtime TV
Oh
show.
yeah.
And little Vivian is
She's in
she plays young Eleanor Roosevelt
that?
in flashbacks.
Of course
and
she does.
And she's incredible.
Of course she does.
Oh my
She's
God.
incredible.
Her
But yeah,
agent
we
is,
were
like,
watching
killing
it. Yeah, we were watching it and we were like, wait, baby Leia. It's baby Leia.
Wow, That's awesome.
So it's been a good 2 years for her.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Love that.
Yeah, she's great. I love Moses Ingram in this character.
Mhm.
I think that she is a very fascinating type of character that we haven't particularly seen, in like female empire
Yeah.
terms.
And I think
and-
that's like, which for some people, it's like why they're complaining, which I think is like, why? Like, we can do something different. That's fine. And it's good.
Yeah.
There are very basic reasons why people are complaining, and
Yes.
we don't need to infer what that is, but
No, we do not.
but we know what that is.
Mhm.
I think the one valid I don't know if criticism is even the right word, is that we still don't have a ton of clarity on
her-
why she
her-
is
her
this
wise.
way.
That being said,
I think there are some very strong theories, but
well,
Sure.
and
they're kind of
potentially
leaving
even
it to us to-
indications. Like, especially in this episode
Yes,
in particular,
yes,
like there were
yes.
some hints.
yes,
Yeah, in the interrogation scene for
Yeah.
sure, there were some hints.
yes,
And you can even see, you could start to see some regret, like as she's like
Yeah.
about to torture a child,
Right.
like, because I think
Yeah,
you
that
can,
was dark. I was
Yeah.
like, because we've had, some interrogation, some like torture scenes in Star Wars before, but I'm like, a child?
a child.
Well,
And
can we
she-
talk about?
But
Sorry,
she
keep
knows. I mean, because she this basically. I mean, I'm assuming a lot, but I think it's safe to assume that she was also tortured in the exact same way.
Sure. Yes.
And
Yeah.
like she's feeling a lot of remorse. Like she's like reliving her own trauma, kind of thing.
I mean, it does really feel like we're getting not to be reductive, but like a Trilla
Yeah.
adjacent storyline.
yeah. So
here
and you
from
you
Fallen
also
Order.
played the game, right, Alyssa?
hmm
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this was like we every single episode we've been getting all of these like little and not so little.
Not so, I mean, the water
yeah,
planet.
yeah,
like,
They've now
just-
broken into the Inquisitorius twice in 5 years, so maybe somebody
Yeah.
should check the front door.
Jeez. They're just like,
God.
it's in the middle of a
Or
middle
maybe
of a
not
water
build the
thing.
tower underwater so it can completely flood for the second time in 5 years.
Ah, damn it, not again.
What's the planet called again? New or Rue or Flu? What is it?
Bluey Nui Rui. I can look
Hold,
that up.
please.
Yeah.
I think it's a letter and then the letter U. Helpful. It's ooh though, something. New.
Ew.
It's in the We know it's in the Mustafar system. I
Mustafar,
don't remember
yeah.
what it's.
Right.
Oh gosh. I looked for it
Oh.
earlier.
But I assume they haven't beefed up security because they just assume people aren't strolling into Vader's neck of the woods.
Ner.
Sure. Is it new?
Ner.
Ner.
Ner?
That's
And
right.
you
are.
Ner. And you are.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
It's Ner.
So those were sort of my just
Basic
general thoughts
thoughts.
about episode
Mhm.
4. What about you all?
Well, generally, I liked it. No, I think that there was numerous things about 4 that were like really exciting. Again, seeing Darth Vader in his like more rageful form, is
Angry.
very
Just-
intense. I don't think we've ever seen him walk so fast. When
Or
he,
have his voice modulate as much as it did.
yeah, like
oh god.
like fierce anger, and I was very scared for her. I was like, she's about to get her head ripped off. But yeah, and I really do love that base, as as ridiculous as it is. They're like, I really shouldn't have put so many windows. What a dummy. Yeah, there's still some like kind of like silly things happening. It feels like it's like a common thing in each episode where you're all like, I was explaining in the last episode, Alyssa, that like it wasn't the last episode. Well, for example, like when they like go up to the little oh gosh, the little stop, the stormtroopers are stopping them in the middle of the desert, and they got the little like
Yeah,
Then
the
they could have gone around.
security point or
security
whatever.
points, checkpoint.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there you go. And it's just like just go around. You're in the middle of a desert. You could pick left or right. Either way is fine.
And we talked about. I think we talked about it on the last episode, Daniel. The limitations of the volume.
Right.
I think
right.
I think we're seeing that now.
We're starting to witness that for sure. There were like a few things in this episode too that I was starting to see. I was like, oh, this is now becoming sort of like a common thing. I don't know if that's necessarily a complaint, but it every once in a while it kind of took me out. But like, yeah, lots of things to enjoy for sure. Generally I liked it. What about you, Dino?
Yes, generally I liked it.
Just change the podcast title.
Generally, I liked it. Honestly, that wouldn't have been a bad way to start it.
I think that like I'm trying to think of like the things that like really really struck me in and probably the thing that got me the most excited potentially was him like flouncing into the Jedi tomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because
we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But.
Yeah. Like I just my imagination goes wild as to what they're using it for, what all the things. It's very very
we'll chat about
cool
that.
world building. And exciting to see Kenobi like finally starting to get his hold on the Force again, and yeah, it's all very exciting.
Yes, I was a fan of this episode. I mentioned at the top the interrogation with Leia is probably the best written bit of this show, next to some of the I would put it right next to from the last episode, Kenobi's explanation of the Force.
Yeah.
Which he always has amazing ways of explaining it.
Truly.
But I thought, Vivian Blair and Moses Ingram in that scene just absolutely kill. I'm so impressed by this 10-year-old. Like she is Carrie Fisher reincarnated.
Is she like actually 10 in real life, or is she a little younger? Just
I
little.
believe,
I mean, her teeth
yes.
look like she's 10.
I think she's 10.
I believe it.
I could be wrong, but
Yeah, because she's so little, but she's got like at least
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
4 or 5 like actual big teeth that are already growing in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about a
She
10-year-old.
might just she might just be a small 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But I mean, so wildly talented, and I find it very interesting that this show is really they're not dealing with it directly, but they're leaning into Leia's Force abilities that she doesn't even know exist and are still latent at this point. But the fact that the Inquisitor can't probe her mind,
Get into her mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it's not raising it. Well, I mean, they didn't really have time to unpack that, but it's not raising any alarm bells just yet. I mean, the fact Leia was in the same place as her father, and and he didn't know, and she didn't know. But I love that we're getting to paint with that color on Leia, and then I feel like Daniel and I talked about this as well, that any of these shows can validate their existence by making our viewing of the original trilogy better, and ultimately I think Kenobi is doing that, with its minor faults aside, but particularly for Leia, like now having seen where she came from, and then walking immediately into that first scene in A New Hope when she's confronted by Vader, it's like, oh God, this is good. This is good family drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned, Daniel, the fortress. I freaking love the fortress.
Yeah, it's dope.
I love like new looks at the Empire, and this is definitely a creepier one.
Just like collecting dead bodies and
yeah, and even the callbacks to the game. You see the Purge troopers and the it's. I like
trench coat troopers. That's a new one.
The trench coat guys,
which I think is so okay. That I mean, personally, I know that I know that we are. I have to keep reminding myself that the show, all Star Wars, their key audience are 12-year-olds, and this is exactly like to put a child in a trench coat, that
checks out.
That totally checks out. And that is super right. They literally introduced the stormtrooper with trench coats like for this episode so that she can escape.
Correct.
Which is hilarious.
And yes, I mean, look, the fact nobody noticed until they were nearly out the door. Interesting.
Hide in plain sight. There is something to be said. That definitely does work. It can
Walk confidently, and people won't question.
That's right.
That
guy has a very large hip.
And maybe it's just
one.
my head. It's my head canon where it's never explained, because I think these actually are kind of just silly. But I like to justify everything just so I can keep it all in order. And I think, like, people not noticing, or even like going back to stormtroopers having terrible aim, I think it's just a reflection of like the mass-produced nature of the Empire. Like, they're strong in numbers, but not strong in quality, because like, look at them.
None
disposing
of them are getting paid enough to care.
one disposing of the clones because they were expensive, and they could have 10 times as many troops if they just rushed everybody out there. And I think you're already starting to see the cracks in that type of governance. The further you expand, the middle
cracks in the windows as well.
right.
Quite literally.
Well, yeah, lapses in security, and like I mean, in an empire this size, sure. I mean,
also hilarious
corruption.
Like, the moment where he was swimming and then we assume used the Force to completely dry himself after he got out of the water, because I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Sure. Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not? I was half expecting Jar Jar to swim by. Jar Jar, this is all your fault.
On Disney Plus.
Where they really hash it out that this was all Jar Jar's fault.
Oh, poor guy.
I mean,
poor guy.
But true.
It would be great to see him as a clown.
Gave the Emperor
I mean, it would be very
emergency
sad.
powers.
to see him on as a clown on. Did he end up? Is he a clown?
Yeah, he was on Naboo. He was
on
Naboo. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
he's
right.
a street clown on Naboo.
Poor
That's what
guy.
you get.
Poor guy.
That's what you get for just handing complete control of the galaxy over to.
It's quite the arc, quite the character.
Ugh.
arc. But yeah, like digging into the episode, we start with him like having some back to tank time.
That was a cool sequence.
Yeah, it was cool, and we're seeing. And I'm curious what you guys like thought about or think about, because we've seen at least several times, or at least hints to them having sort of like a connection to each other, sort of mentally. Is that kind of what they're kind of alluding to?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
yes.
so. That seems like it.
Because Anakin in particular looked very perturbed. Like
Yeah.
he was like,
Going
jerking
through it.
around.
Suffering, yeah. I mean, both of them are, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm curious. I don't think they're going quite as far as like them being like a dyad.
No.
But
Yeah, I think it's probably like similar, if not adjacent to like Kylo Ren, Rey.
well, that's the dyad.
That's the dyad.
Yeah,
and it's not that because they've. I mean, take it for what you will, but writers, J.J. Abrams, all of them have explained that the dyad had only been done once before. I think.
Okay.
At
And,
least that
and
they were aware of.
Palpatine tried to do it with Vader. He thought Anakin.
He
could
tried to
be-
do it with Vader. Gross.
Why do we have to think about Palpatine doing it again?
No, please.
It's the most
Disgusting.
upsetting part of Star Wars.
God.
Ew.
Oh, that's the
But
that's
they
the
definitely-
next series we need is Palpatine's like romance with
I've been feeling fine, babe.
But they are definitely connected, and
Yeah, mentally.
my watch. Sorry to interrupt this.
What
But
happened?
my watch thought I was talking to it. And
Oh, what did it say?
It brought up a bunch of Palpatine crap.
oh no, don't
Palpatine
click on the
sex.
videos. Don't click on the videos.
It's like all Palpatine intercourse. No.
What is it? If he really wanted to die, why a clone of himself? Maybe it's more a cry for help. You want a hug, Palpy?
Poor Palpatine.
Reddit.
Oh, you know what?
wow.
Maybe that'll be great. We'll get like a Wicked musical, like where we show
Oh my
Palpatine's
God.
point of view, and it's like he's actually really good, and he's just really misunderstood.
No,
Poor
no, he's not.
Palpatine.
He's not really good.
The Sith and I. That's our musical reference for the day.
There it is.
Oh man.
Um,
But yeah,
so
yeah,
the connection between them.
They're
not the
connected.
dyad, but yeah.
maybe not the dyad, but they're connected mentally. Yeah. Oh, there was just a recent interview done with Hayden Christensen, and I guess he was talking about how in this series, in particular, he Darth Vader is trying to like mentally kill Anakin Skywalker still. Like he's
Sure.
still, and I guess
Mhm.
he's
Flush him
kind of
out.
been doing that like throughout,
Yeah.
him being Darth Vader, like up until the very end,
Yes.
until he finally gives up and said, "All right, you win, Anakin." Ugh.
Yeah, But I think having Obi-Wan around and, sharing some collective thoughts and feelings, it's probably even more difficult for him
It's
to.
agitating,
Yeah.
yeah, triggering.
Mhm.
Hashtag triggering.
Well, that's the important thing to remember with Anakin, and I think that's why it makes Vader all the more compelling, is that he is suffering
Right.
all the time.
Mm-hmm. I was talking about this the last episode with Dino, Alyssa, but like, a lot of the Disney Plus shows have been sort of about grief and
Mental health and
dealing with that
trauma. Yeah.
trauma. Yeah, and I think that this definitely like has some twinges of that, and I think that we're starting to see like this is where I think Darth Vader, like Anakin as Darth Vader, is just like the giant anger arc of the grief process.
Yep.
And we're seeing him
Yeah.
at like his peak anger.
this is the rage portion of the programming.
Yeah, of the program. Yes.
I love that this episode, and they've sprinkled this throughout Star Wars recently, really with Bad Batch and Clone Wars to a degree, and we're doing it here, and we'll do it with Andor. But just watching the seeds of rebellion, start to form, and that it wasn't an alliance; it is the forming of a rebel alliance. But it's all these little pockets,
Right. I wonder if I just thought about it now because in the games, because I'm just playing the games again, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Frickin' Saw Gerrera.
Oh yeah.
We could totally see him again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
he
think he is in Andor.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
he
fucking
is.
cool as
Yeah.
hell.
Great.
I believe he is.
That's sick.
Great.
And he's obviously in Fallen Order, and you'll probably see him again.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And he
but
was in one episode of Bad Batch last season.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes,
that's
that's
right.
right.
So yeah, they're
Yeah.
just sprinkling him throughout, I guess.
We'll definitely see him again.
Yeah, more than likely. But yeah, we were introduced to some new characters. What was his name? Roken? Is that his name?
Roken. Yep.
Roken.
Yeah.
And
Played by O'Shea Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Straight outta
it's
Compton.
also like I I think that I don't know if they have plans, but it feels like they're giving these seemingly smaller characters like this like bit of life that feels like they have like a backstory that like we might not hear about in this show, but they're like reserving the right to do that in the future kind of thing maybe. But yeah, he was like one of those characters that was introduced as like almost as though we were supposed to know who he was already, And
I appreciate when shows in general do that.
Yeah.
that you
They
just
drop
like
us
kind of
in-
dropped in.
Right, drop in
Yeah.
the middle of the action, and then you go back and kind of piece it together.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's
yeah,
the same
'cause
thing
it's
with
very. It's like it's a little exhausting too to just be like,
Origin
this
after
is who
origin
this
after
is.
yes,
origin.
yeah. So back in the war, and same thing with was it Tala?
Somehow Palpatine has returned.
Is that
yeah,
her name?
Tala.
Yeah,
Tala.
Tala. Yeah, I mean, we got a little bit more of a not an origin, but like at least she kind of explained herself a little bit more than he did. But it was same difference. So she has like this giant backstory that sounds pretty cool.
I really like her
Yeah, me too.
as a character, as an actor. I mean, just all around. It's
Yeah,
it's incredibly refreshing to, as Katie Sackhoff put at Celebration, just to see all of these very strong characters who happen to be women.
Yeah, badass
Yes.
women. But she's like arguably taking some of the biggest risks in the show so far.
Oh my
That's-
gosh.
yeah, I had forgotten about it till this moment. Her scene with
With Reva.
with Reva.
Yeah.
And
Like like in the
Very
D&D world,
convincing,
that is
yeah.
like rolling a nat 20 for your charisma check. That was,
Mhm.
yeah, like, I mean, she may have not completely, convinced her, but to not be dead after that was
Oh,
pretty
I thought
clutch.
for sure when she walked in, I was like, oh, she's
Oh,
gone.
this is
like
the
she's
end.
gonna be killed right
Yeah.
now.
That being said, I mean, I think by the end of the episode, we kind of understand why she was let go, because I think that, yeah, I think Reva is definitely smarter than she, like, at least
Yes.
made herself look at
Oh.
in that moment.
well,
Sure.
we know that because Vader doesn't snap her neck.
Yeah, right.
Like
Mhm.
he was like, okay, I
Alright.
recognize game.
underestimated you,
Yeah.
bitch.
But no, to your point, Alyssa, I really like seeing, well, number one, strong characters that happen to be women,
Mm-hmm.
but particularly women in the Empire. Because
Yes.
one thing the old expanded universe did really well, in like the post Return of the Jedi old
Mhm.
canon,
Mhm.
you had a lot of very scary and treacherous women, like in places of power, which is so interesting. And that you also had the dynamic of, like trying to fill the vacuum of the Emperor and Vader, but also like now it is my time because the Empire didn't take women seriously, and there was
Right.
that component as well. I was like, oh, it was pretty cool.
You know
Yeah.
about the extended universe more than I do.
Yeah.
Way more than I do. Somebody who was telling me about this. I think Chris was actually telling me about this character that I was like, how did I not know about this? It sounds so cool. I was like, this should be a this should be a film or something. But there was I think a female Sith who like decided to like, she's like, I'm not gonna like fight the Jedi. There's no reason to fight the Jedi because they're always gonna like win because they have the Force. So she's like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill the Force.
Oh, Treya
Was it
from
okay?
from Knights of the Old Republic 2.
That's what it's from. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she gets betrayed by her
See, I haven't
two.
played the Knights of the Old Republic. I need to play it.
Oh, well, I don't want to spoil this for you because they're redoing it.
I know.
But,
I'm excited, but it's okay because I already know. I'm like that arc sounds so cool.
Yeah, and I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but she's betrayed by. She was part of it, basically like a Sith triumvirate. Like at the time, these 3 Sith Lords kind of got together. And we're like, okay, but she was kind of the leader of the 3, and the other 2 turned on her, and it kind of left her for dead. And she's found by the character you play, and she kind of becomes this mentor figure, like a Kenobi figure, but she's like shitting on the Force. Like it's just. It's not good.
Yeah.
And then we come to find out, no, she didn't give up her Sith ways. Like she's literally using this person to destroy the Force itself.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
I think that's that like because like, that concept is
yes,
not ever even like broached in the film.
If you wanted to rewrite the sequel trilogy, which I don't.
Yeah,
maybe I do,
but that would be a dope way to do it.
I don't, but that could be a
wouldn't-
part of it.
That wouldn't be the worst way to go. Or if you wanted to continue with your sequel characters,
Have I seen her in comics? Maybe.
Maybe.
Treya.
Darth Treya.
But yeah, what like for me, like what trumps the Sith and the Jedi? It would be just the Force itself, So like, yeah, have somebody going after just the Force somehow. I mean, I'm assuming there was probably some links to that Clone Wars arc, with the father and the daughter,
the Mortis gods.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think that would be so sick. Anyway, I digress. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, strong women. Yes, 400%.
Yeah, no, it is really cool, and I like seeing the variety in the Empire a little bit.
Of course, you do.
It adds a cooler. Well, it's not as generic bad guy. Like you're getting serious people,
and it's nice to know that there's I mean, because it makes sense, because like I think that just having like a group of like a giant group of people who all agree with each other and they're all equally as evil, you know what I mean, that just doesn't feel as believable.
The infighting is I think super interesting, and also a signal of decay already.
Yes.
It's like everybody has ambition, like Reva is a ladder climber, and we're going to find out why that is, but she's very good at it.
At least I hope we do. And I am curious, too, what you guys think, because that there's been – I think it's not so much a rumor anymore. I don't know if it's been confirmed by, like, the Disney executives, but, I mean, it sounds like we're getting a season 2 of this show.
In some form, yeah.
Yeah, whatever that might be. So
I don't know what it means yet, because they haven't called it a season 2, but they basically said, like, a second –
part,
a second series. I don't know.
Yeah, and that could be a portion of why we're these new characters that we've been introduced to that like seemingly have a backstory that we don't know about yet. That could be why like they're building these guys up so they can have like their own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just makes me wonder. Like, I mean, obviously Darth Vader's story is not over. I'm wondering if Obi-Wan Kenobi continues his story after this season, but it's still too early to say. But
yeah,
yeah.
So we tabled this at the beginning, but like probably the most shocking revelation in this episode was seemingly a Jedi tomb at the bottom of this fortress.
Yeah, and it was shocking, but like it makes sense. You know, because there's definitely
collecting trophies.
Yeah, and we've already seen. I mean, if you've watched the cartoons, was it Rebels, or was it Clone? I think it was Rebels when they're they go to a ship because they got like a distress call from oh gosh, what's her name? The Jedi. And then when they get on the ship, they find that she's actually like in a coffin and dead. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Syndulla? No. Is that the name? No, that's not it.
No, that's Hera.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Hera Syndulla. She's got like the kind of whoop.
I don't remember that from Rebels.
Okay, maybe it was in Clone Wars.
So maybe
then.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, someone chime in the comments if you know. I don't remember.
Yeah, that sounds like a distant memory to me.
It was really cool though. It was like because we had never seen kind of like Force ghosts to be used in that way. It was like they were kind of like using her Force ghost as like a lure to lure in Jedi into a trap and then kill them. So like assumedly they're going to use some of these dead Jedi for that purpose, but
well, yeah, I mean there's a lot of things that could be happening here. At the very base level, it's trophy collecting because there is, you see it in their kind of main meeting room of the lightsabers and the helmets of the younglings. So they are sadistic collectors.
Totally.
Digging down into what you just said, Daniel, that's very possible. Using them as
bait
to collect any remaining Jedi. Dig even further down. Is this yet another signal of perhaps playing into Palpatine's grand scheme of
that's where my mind
harvesting
went
DNA
right away.
And I mean, because they're preserving them. So
and here's the other weird thing about it too, because like I think that, and I just thought about this now too, but like in the show, like they ripped off Lord of the Rings so hard when he came into he's like, this isn't what I can't remember the first part of the line. He's like, this isn't a da-da-da. It's a tomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he said this isn't a... What did he say?
This isn't a vagina.
This isn't a... God damn, this isn't a... Hold, please.
Yeah, please hold. I don't know, but yeah, it was straight from the Fellowship of the Ring.
From the Mines of Moria.
Yes, exactly. But what I found kind of disturbing about it, part of what I thought was disturbing about it is that the bodies, like he said that they're a tomb, but like they don't really look dead. They like a lot of them look like they're
no mine. It's a tomb.
This is no
there.
mine.
You go. Yeah, right. But yeah, a lot of the bodies like look like they're in like mid.
They're like petrified.
Yeah, like even the child. I mean, I know it would have been probably like again, this is a kids show, so if we're showing bodies, we're not going to show like severed limbs of children. You know,
and the writer referred to, and he could be just doing it just because, but they did refer to it as a tomb of sorts.
Yeah, but I did find it to be interesting because that like they, instead of like finding like dead looking corpses, like they look like they were caught like right before they got killed. You know, like the child looked like he was like in fear, like running away, like almost like the pose that they put him in, you know? So it's like it almost makes me wonder, are they actually dead?
Well, and interesting that there's theories about who a couple of these Jedi are.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So there's one rather heavy set one with a long beard and
oh yeah, the one that looks like he's out of a D&D campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
He's like a
barbarian. There's a lot of speculation that's Oppo Rancisis, who is a member of the Jedi Council during Phantom Menace. We see him in Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay.
And having looked at it again, I was like, yeah, that probably
could be
possible.
And then there's another one named Coleman Cassage, who is on the council during Revenge of the Sith. It's not particularly relevant, but those are like two very high-ranking Jedi, and probably quite powerful. So if they are using preservation as opposed to like just trophy hunting, it does begin to raise questions about like,
Right.
why they end up hunting Grogu 25 years later. Or
I mean, at this point, I don't know exactly if, because have we the Emperor's plans, like his ultimate plan, on like Exegol, like that was it's unknown to most of the Empire, but not
yes,
right.
He's got his little cult, and this is
Yeah.
if you're not following along and you're listening, so that they've kind of filled in some of these gaps in some of the recent Darth Vader runs of comics,
Right,
where
yes.
Palpatine, his Sith cult, has been on Exegol working on this technology, and Vader stumbles on it.
He's like, "What? Why didn't you
what is
tell
going on?"
me? I want to have some
but
clones too."
That's happening roughly around this time. So yeah, most of the Empire has no idea.
But Darth Vader does.
Yeah, but he didn't. Like he has to.
Yeah.
He stumbles upon that information.
But is it around this time? So I mean, like, would in this show, would he have already found out about it? You think?
I don't think it has happened yet, but
soon.
It is within this Revenge of the Sith: New Hope.
Sure. But I mean, it's possible though that like he may have made like some orders and been like, "I need you to collect some Jedi because we're going to be taking some samples. Not going to tell you why, but just do it." That kind of thing? Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, well, sure. I mean, all he would have to say is
Do
preserve
it.
them. And they don't ask questions. So, I don't know. That might be reading too far into like feeding the sequel
Yeah.
trilogy, but it does seem like there is a concerted effort to kind of do that.
Well, yeah.
So-
I mean, especially if they're because it sounds now that like instead of like brushing it under the rug and moving on, they're like leaning into it because we're getting brand new films with the sequel people.
characters. Yep.
So I wouldn't put it past them to try to explain yourself. So yeah, I guess it would be interesting. I mean, yeah, there's numerous reasons why that could be very cool. And yeah, that would be fun. I can't wait to see where that's going. I hope that they answer it, but it could be a season 2 thing.
I'm still. I'm going to reserve my true feelings about it until we reach the completion of this. I'm not totally game for a season 2, but depending on what they do, because I don't know. I wanted this to be like a self-contained little thing as opposed to becoming a long-running series. But depending on how they stick the landing, I could very well feel differently about it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
But I do hope we're getting. We will, but the Vader Obi-Wan confrontation, and it's definitive, and then we leave that where it is until A New Hope.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't keep running into each other.
Yeah, not you again.
No, that would be silly.
So whatever happens, they need to.
Finish
Obi-Wan
it.
needs to kick his ass, or at least fight him to a draw, and then get the hell out of here.
And make it meaningful.
Right.
But yeah, he I think that Obi-Wan's got another lesson to teach because and they even talked about it in some interviews pretty recently, I guess. The that one line that he says when he meets Obi-Wan in the original trilogy, he says, the last time I saw you, I was the learner, and now I'm the master, or whatever. I think something like that. So if he's talking about now, the last time he saw him, then he still considers himself the learner at this point, which is interesting, because I think at this point
he's still. I mean, Anakin is still around,
right?
So
So I'm interested to see what that really means, because I don't think that they've really defined what that is yet.
There's going to be some. I'm not sure at this point Obi-Wan is going to physically be able to beat Vader, but
No.
he's gonna beat him in another way, which
he's gonna sow,
which is
he's
the
gonna
way
sow
of the
some
Jedi.
doubt.
It's gonna be clever.
Yeah.
Whatever he
Yeah.
does.
He's going to plant that seed of doubt in the Emperor. I mean, I think he's we're just feeding it really, because I mean, he already does have he wants to overthrow the Emperor, because
he tells Obi-Wan that.
Yeah, right.
In Revenge of the Sith, and it is the way of the Sith. And,
yeah, and then
and
he
Vader
actually does spar
always,
with him in the comics,
the
right?
comics. Yeah, well, yeah. Speaking of Exegol, like they go at it,
right?
And Vader makes
they
several
make
attempts
out.
to
They
kill him.
like they get naked and they
No.
I hate it here.
and they
Not
go
again.
at it.
Not again.
Why are we here?
Oh yes, Vader. Right
I hate
there.
you.
That's
I hate
nice.
you so much. It's disgusting.
Ew.
What other thoughts, if any, that are appropriate do you have?
That are not about
that are
that.
appropriate.
That
Well,
should
then I
narrow
have
the list
nothing
down.
left.
Yeah, I was about to say you have
nothing left to
nothing left.
say.
He's
to
tapped
contribute.
out. That's all he's got.
Oh man. Lola's evil now. So sad.
Yeah, Lola's
Yeah.
evil. It was cool seeing the snow speeders, the T-47s.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, there's lots of little Easter eggs, cute things. We lost.
But the Empire really needs to work on security. Like, how did that ship get
my
through?
God.
And how did like, God Almighty.
I mean, at this
That
point,
fortress
it
is
is a joke.
the easiest place to get into.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
obviously at this point like wink, wink, haha, nee, 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 nee. But yeah, that is very silly. Gosh, what else? I'm trying to think. I will say though, like, not even just the setting of the episode, but also like the way that they were able to. Part of the way that they were able to escape was like going down the corridor, breaking the window, and then causing it to flood. Like that is straight out of Jedi Fallen Order. So like,
Oh yeah.
the parallels are like they abound. Parallels abound.
Correct.
Plentiful.
Plentiful. Yeah, it's cool. If you haven't played the game, it's dope.
It is, and with the sequel coming out, I would recommend it if you are a game player of any kind. Even if you're not, even if you're just casual, it's
Yeah, and actually,
narratively speaking, it's a lot of fun. It's really
yeah.
engrossing.
I was gonna say
Because I'm not. It's not my kind of game. It's not the kind of games that I like to play.
sure
But
third person
because it's, but because it's so entrenched in this incredible narrative
Mm-hmm.
that you get to kind of live out. Yeah, it's
and
great.
I was gonna say that if you are like you're not an avid game player of sorts and you're just along for the story, they literally have like what I think they call like story mode or whatever, where you basically like the settings are so easy that you're just kind of like going through the motions, but more or less you're just getting all of the plot,
I played on story mode. It's still challenging.
It's tough.
Honestly, if I have any complaint for the game is that the way that they've made a lot of the
Puzzles.
well, the puzzles are can be challenging, but it's a little bit clunky as far as the movement goes. Like
Yeah.
when you try to you're like, I want you to jump this way,
It's not as smooth as you want it.
not quite as smooth as you
Yeah.
want it. Yeah. So
I
it
bet
takes a lot of
they-
getting used to. And the
Yeah, it
cameras
The
does.
second,
too.
the sequel probably will
The
be
sequel,
leaps
they're
and
gonna-
bounds.
They gotta fix that. Yeah.
And
EA
I'm
Games.
sure-
Damn
yes.
it.
Yeah, but or if you're like, I'm not ever gonna play that game. There are billions of nerds on
Who have,
YouTube and
yes.
Twitch,
Yeah,
and you can just
and-
watch their gameplay through.
Yes.
So
Or you could watch the cutscenes even, and that'll kind of
Yeah.
tell you what's going on.
That's it.
yeah, it's really beautiful to look at, and also it's like Daniel said, there's so many things from the game that are now in live action
Yeah.
form. So
And it explores.
actress-
Oh, sorry.
No. The actress who plays Trilla, what is her name?
Oh, she's fantastic.
she does a lot of video game work.
I'm pulling up her. I don't want to butcher her name. Her name is Elizabeth Grulon or Grulon, Grullon. But yeah, she plays Trilla, who's an Inquisitor, fallen Jedi, and she's chef's kiss.
Yeah, very good.
Oh yeah, so cool.
Yeah, and it sort of explores something we haven't seen in any of the films, which is understandable because I mean the films are the Skywalker storyline, so it's like they're
Right.
very focused. But it explores like other civilizations throughout the galaxy that use the Force in a completely different way. You know, they don't know about the Jedi or the Sith. It's like they consider themselves to be what do they call themselves? They're like sages, I think. You know, the people that use the Force, they call themselves sages. So it's like it's just cool to know that, you know, the Jedi and the Sith aren't like the only thing in the neighborhood. There's also others.
Yep.
It's cool. Neat.
It's very cool. Very cool.
Well, that was
I think
chapter
that's
4,
Yeah.
and we're getting to the good stuff here.
Episode is
Yeah.
next.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe already there.
Yeah. So I mean, penultimate episodes are usually pretty exciting if there's a season 2, and it sounds like there is. So this could be the one. But I don't know. I'm thinking that they're probably reserving the big.
I
the
think
big fight
Vader
for
Obi-Wan
last
is a
episode.
finale. It has to be a finale thing.
Yeah.
That's literally the whole point of this show was
It's
to
just-
force them together again.
Yeah. Definitely. But I'm thrilled.
Well, looking
I
forward
can't
to
wait.
it. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
right.
So we've got 2 more of Obi-Wan, and then we'll
Swing back to Miss Marvel.
go to Miss Marvel, which I watched the first episode of yesterday, and it's delightful.
It
I
is
have not watched yet. I've
delightful.
heard.
Can't
I've heard
wait.
Great things.
Can't wait to talk
It's
about it.
really,
It is
really
really
cool.
just so charming and creative, and a completely different Marvel flavor
Yeah.
that we have not gotten at all yet.
Good.
So it's really fun.
Pretty cool. So
Looking forward
next
to
week
that.
we're doing two episodes of Miss Marvel. Is that right?
I don't know what our schedule is.
I know.
but-
I keep on saying next week we're doing Miss Marvel, and then I'm like, damn it, I was wrong.
Well, we might be doing like a full blown whole season of Miss Marvel.
oh
we
well,
might
we'll
do
see.
that. So depends on other things, but we will be covering.
What
it.
a
So
tease! You're just gonna have to,
Well,
just
we'll just
stick
look
around,
on the
I guess.
just look on the internet and see.
Yeah.
What-
Watch
what's
this
happening.
space.
Oh man.
Thanks for listening. This is Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino DeKendros.
May the force be with you.
Always.
See ya.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast. Please like and subscribe.